In today's Leeds news, new kit launches and category change, Elland Road update, Perri's Future and fee details, Leeds squad status report, and rumour mill story on Roony Bardghji. Hey everyone, welcome to the Leeds View for Thursday, the 4th of June with your Leeds United news. I hope you're all having a really good week so far. There's a bit of stuff to get stuck into today. There will be a podcast out tonight having a look back at last season, a full season review. Myself, Paul Brooker and Andrea Russo will be in the house to have a chat about that and discuss our player of the years before we get into yours next week on the podcast. We'll be closing down the nominees on that today, and we'll be putting up some polls over the next couple of days to let you vote on the different categories that we put forward to have official channel Players of the Year awards next week. So you can check that out if you want to. Also, the new Leeds United kit has launched. If you are thinking about buying it and you want to support this channel, we have gotten a connection with Fanatics, and you can use the links down below to help support the channel. It's the best way to do it. If you're buying it anyway, that's a great way of supporting us. We have some detail on that kit though, because there has been a category change for Leeds as well. This morning, Leeds United launched their 26-27 away kit, which sees the return of the rose badge and adds a rose floral pattern to the base of the kit. The official trailer, by the way, if you haven't checked it out today, is absolutely worth checking out. It's probably one of the best launch videos that Leeds United have done. It's fantastic. Go see how many different Easter eggs you can find in that video related to areas of Leeds past, some more subtle than others, but you can check it out if you want to. On top of this, it also sees two brand new goalkeeper shirts. One's a blue and one's a pink one. Both very, very nice, and both with the rose badge. So if you want something a little bit different, they're available in short sleeve options as well. For the away kit, there is a long sleeve option finally available via the customization section on the website. And that is accompanied also by the trefoil logo. And that means a couple of things. The combination of both of them means that Leeds United have moved from the tier B category in Adidas up to local tier A. Not quite in the tier A elite category as some people have rumoured. What it basically means is Leeds have joined the likes of Aston Villa and Newcastle in that category. And it means a few different things for Leeds, and especially can help with a revenue. The category gives Leeds more club options on training wear, long sleeve options, potential bespoke kits, but very much a case of authentic kits as well. Up until now, we've only been able to purchase replica kits. You can now get the authentic kit that the players will wear as well. There's some global marketing pieces to this as well. So from a revenue perspective, this helps Leeds from a global revenue perspective. And then again, having somebody like Fanatics selling the kits around the world does go a long way towards bringing more football related revenue through these kit sales into the club. If you want to support this channel, as I say, you can use any of the links down below to buy the kit. We'd very much appreciate that. But from a Leeds perspective, this is going to sell like hotcakes. This is an absolute classic kit, and I can't wait to see it. There's also a lovely pair of white shorts on the website as well with the Rose logo on it. We're not getting the Rose logo on the home shirt, but it is nice to dream a little bit. But I love it. I think it looks fantastic on the players. The video is outstanding. Go check it out if you want to. Let's move on and talk about Elland Road updates. Yesterday, Leeds United put out an official statement on Elland Road, along with a partner video celebrating the history of Elland Road Stadium and discussing the new revamp. Eddie Gray was a major part of the video, and Eddie Gray basically pointed out that Leeds have outgrown the existing stadium, and although there's great noise in that stadium, there's an opportunity to put far more fans and make it louder. And he also said that what's good for Leeds United is good for the city, and what's good for the city is good for Leeds United. And there seems to be a very close connection between Leeds United and Leeds City Council right now, which hasn't always been the case over the past couple of decades, and it's a big step forward for Leeds. Work on this ground has officially begun now. We've seen the West Stand ticket office has finally been destroyed. LUTV studio has been taken down, and the banqueting suite has also been demolished. New temporary floodlights have been added to the top of the West Stand, and the relatively newish, I suppose, floodlights that were put in during our last promotion campaign have been taken away, and that has cleared the ground to allow them to start the groundwork on what will be a very, very big brand new West Stand. A statement from the development company and Leeds United reads as follows. Enhancement of Leeds United's iconic Elland Road Stadium is officially underway. Our home, our future, and a momentous moment in the club's 106-year existence. Work has now begun on the West Stand, starting with the removal of the banqueting suite, shaping the future of Elland Road. Executives from Leeds United, the Leeds United Foundation, the City Council, along with the club's ambassadors, Stuart Dallas, Tony DeRigo and Eddie Gray, were all in attendance to mark the occasion. The new West Stand, which will be built over the top of the existing structure, is the first phase of transforming Elland Road into a UEFA Category 4 stadium, placing it among the elite venues in European football. That Category 4 classification is really, really important. In that video, Robbie Evans points out that this will allow Leeds to compete and bid for the likes of European finals, for the likes of a World Cup. England was to ever get a World Cup in the next few cycles, or Euros. Elland Road is now in a position where it can host games, and that all helps again for bringing more money into the club and positioning Leeds as one of the top 6 grounds in the Premier League, and that will help again across the water in Europe as well. So all very good stuff there. You can check out the video for that as well on the Leeds United's official website, and you can see some of the screenshots we've shared there as well of how that second tier will be built first above the West Stand, and then the West Stand will be demolished while the lower tier goes in behind that as well. So yeah, it's an interesting looking project, and Elland Road's going to look very different over the next couple of months. We'll keep you updated on the images as and when they come out. We've got our own people on the ground floating around Elland Road taking photographs every couple of days, so you can check them out over time. Let's move on. Lucas Perri's future at Leeds United still really unclear, at least as the number one choice for Daniel Farke. Carl Darlow's standout season puts the Brazilian number one's future as a number one in doubt, depending on whether the Welsh number one decides that he wants to sign a new deal at the club or not. Isaac Johnson's got a really good piece in Leeds Live today where he's looked at this and goes all the way back to December when Daniel Farke had an opportunity to back his goalkeepers and kind of stopped short of doing it. After the Arsenal game where Carl Darlow had a bit of a hiccup, Daniel Farke was asked about his goalkeeping situation, and all he said was, "The board know my feelings on the situation." Since then, Carl Darlow's had a phenomenal season. He's had some of the saves of the season across the last 2 months of the year. So that might have changed Daniel Farke's opinion, or at least his stance on the situation for now. So Perri has had to settle for the FA Cup. He's gone from being one of Europe's best goalkeepers, according to his former manager Fonseca, and a goalkeeper that was knocking on the door of the Brazilian national side and trying to get in to the World Cup squad, to missing out on the World Cup squad and being the backup goalkeeper for Leeds United. And given that situation, given where he was, and given the fee that Leeds United paid for him, that can't continue for the player or for the club, which brings us to where we sit moving forward and a likely fee for Lucas Perri. Leeds United agreed a deal with Lyon last summer of £13.9 million for Perri, but it contained add-ons. And Isaac Johnson in Leeds Live has pointed out that the majority of those add-ons won't have yet been met. So if Leeds were to sell him, they would be looking to recoup about £10.4 million. Go back to January then, and Besiktas in Turkey were interested, or rumoured to be interested in Lucas Perri at that moment in time. The rumoured fee that they were looking to pay was about £10 million, and Leeds decided to stay exactly where they were at that moment in time and not upset the squad with Perri playing in the FA Cup and Darlow playing in the league. So if Leeds do decide to cash in on Lucas Perri this summer, anything more than £10.4 million would be a benefit from an SCR perspective, but it would still depend on whether there is interest in Lucas Perri. And all of this comes down to what both goalkeepers feel like they want to do next season. If Perri wants to leave, or if Darlow doesn't sign a new deal, it's an overhaul of the goalkeeping department. If one of them wants to stay and one of them wants to leave, there's a different conversation to be had. So there's still a lot to be talked about in that situation and a lot to keep an eye on over the next couple of months. But Baron Cross's piece on this is interesting as well, because he suggested in his piece that Leeds United were relatively happy with the goalkeeping situation and maybe might not even be looking at signing a keeper this year. And again, that depends whether Carl Darlow signs a new deal and Lucas Perri wants to stay. Leeds want to focus their money on the final third of the pitch and not have to spend money in positions where they're relatively happy. Centre mid, goalkeeper. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's move on. Now, speaking about Baron Cross, he's got a piece in The Athletic today looking at the Leeds United squad status, and it gives us a little bit more detail on what kind of summer and transfer window we can expect from the club. Cross rightly points out the similarities between this summer and 2021, and again points out that Parag Marate just needs to retool this squad rather than any kind of an overhaul of the squad in general. It just needs tweaks, and don't make the same mistakes of the past, which will echo what Daniel Farke said. In the piece, Baron Cross points out that this is a squad in transition rather than any massive overhaul or rebuild needed, but the window hinges on a couple of key areas. Pascal Struijk, as we said during the week already, is one of those situations before Leeds end up in a situation where he can move away on a free transfer. They don't want to fall into that bracket again. And one of the major talking points that Baron Cross points out for this summer is Leeds' quest to try and bring in a creative midfielder, something Daniel Farke has desperately wanted for about 2 years now. Get that right, and Leeds United can progress. On the Pascal Strauss situation, Barron Cross points out, this is black and white. He signs a new deal or Leeds sell him. That's it. So if he says no to a new contract, Pascal Strauss will be sold. The Playmaker situation is a little bit more complicated. It is viewed by Leeds internally as a priority position this summer. DCL is said to need it around him to help get the most out of him. Leeds need it. The quality issue has been glaring in the last few months of the season. And Cross says that it is a genuine recruitment story for this summer, despite the fact no real quality names have been linked with it right now, which tells you an awful lot about Leeds. Leeds don't tend to leak stuff they don't want to leak. So that tells you an awful lot without saying anything in that situation. Willie Gnonto is also a major aspect of this summer as well. And in the piece, Cross points out that this could very well be the summer the Leeds United decide to bite the bullet on Willie Gnonto and allow the player to leave, which would be a massive shift in sentiment from the hierarchy of the club towards Willie Gnonto over past summers. There will be interest in Gnonto, whether it's at the level Leeds want still remains to be seen. They've also gone and confirmed that Illan Meslier has left the club. Barron Cross said it is all confirmed officially on the record now. So Leeds haven't put a statement out yet. They probably will once all the contract bits and pieces have been sorted out with the likes of Cairns and Sam Byram. But as Barron Cross says, it's on the record. It's official. Illan Meslier time at Leeds United has finished. But out of all of these stories this summer, the Playmaker is the obvious one, the number one area for everyone to focus on going into the summer. This past year, Edouard Spiritian and Emi Buendia have been linked with moves to Leeds United. They both seem incredibly unlikely at this moment in time. So nobody else has really been linked in that position. That's realistic to think that Leeds could bring them in. Harry Wilson, as we've talked about in the last couple of days, has been very heavily linked, but he doesn't quite match the Playmaker bracket. And what's very interesting as well is in Cross's piece, he doesn't connect the need for a Playmaker with the desire for Harry Wilson. He mentions both of them independently of each other. So maybe Leeds don't see that as a connector either. They want one. They don't want one or the other. They want possibly both of those. So yeah, this is the story to keep an eye on over the summer. Can Leeds bring in a creative Playmaker this summer? They're not easy to get. They're few and far between the quality ones. So they've got to have their work cut out on this, and they might need to spend a big chunk of the budget on bringing in someone if they really do want to make a difference in that part of the pitch. We'll have to wait and see. Let's jump into the back pages in the rumour mill. And again, as always, take this with a pinch of salt. It is just purely rumour and back page news at this moment in time. It's gone quite enough on the back pages, to be fair, with Leeds over the last couple of days. There's not been a huge amount of links with Leeds. There's a couple of easy ones. I think myself and Paul were saying there's about 35 players been linked with Leeds United at this stage over the last couple of months. So it's quieting down a little bit, which is probably good news. It probably means Leeds are about to get ready to do something. So there is that part. But one story that has come out from Team Talk, again, Team Talk's list of links for Leeds, by the way, is growing by the minute. But it's not just Leeds. They're linking these players with 6-7 clubs. So I mean, you can read into that what's going on there. But the one to talk about is Roony Bardghji, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right as well. According to Team Talk, Barcelona are ready to let Roony Bardghji leave this summer, and Leeds, Aston Villa, Sunderland, Brighton, Brentford and Everton are all said to have checked on the situation of the attacker. The amount of clubs that have been linked to it there, you can read into that yourself and see what you think. So Team Talk claimed the Leeds have held a long-standing interest in Bardghji and have closely monitored him over the past couple of years. Leeds are believed to see the Swedish attacker as somebody who can add creativity, flair and goals in the final third of the pitch for Leeds. Bardghji joined Barcelona last summer from FC Copenhagen. He's still a very young player, but he played 28 times in all competitions last season for Barcelona. 7 starts in the league, 1 start in the Champions League. He got 2 goals and added 4 assists. Despite the lack of goals and despite the lack of minutes, he is still seen as one of Europe's most exciting up-and-coming young players, but that's an important tag to put in him, up-and-coming young player, because given what happened with Buonanotte last year, Leeds might want somebody a little bit more experienced, and as much as you can't guarantee outcome from a player, they want somebody who can probably deliver a bit more on the pitch. They're saying that there is a possibility of a loan move here, that Barcelona may not want to sell him, but they do want to see him move away and play games. Maybe that's something Leeds gamble on and bring him in as a second option. I don't know, but I think Leeds will look for more experience and quality as a number 10 rather than risking it on a younger player. Now, he's very good at Copenhagen. Very, very good. I mean, 28 games at Barcelona at a very young age, 20 years of age, is nothing to be sniffed at. It does tell you there's quality in that player, and they won La Liga, so there is something there, but I think Leeds wants something a bit more experience if you're going to bring a player in for that position, because it is a problem area and something we really need to get right this season. But there you go. Anyway, folks, that'll be it for me today. You can check out the podcast later on tonight. And also, again, if you're buying the Leeds United Away shirt, long sleeve, short sleeve, or keepers, and you want to support this channel, you can do so by clicking the links down below to bring you to the Fanatics official site to buy those kits. Appreciate all the help on that one. Have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. See you later.